In this lesson, we'll use a few of these tools up at the top, including white balance, color sample, and targeted adjustments. So starting with the white balance tool, you know that we learned how to adjust the white balance over here on the right-hand side with this menu. There's actually an easier way to do it with this white balance color picker. If there is something white or neutral in your color, you can just click on this. It looks like a little eyedropper, and then click on that part of the image. So right here we have this gray sort of concrete block, which should be completely gray. There should not be any sort of warm or cool tone to it. So if I click here, what happens is it adjusts this gray so that the rest of the image is balanced to that gray. Now, I think it took it a little too far, and so we can come back here and reverse the adjustment just slightly, but this is often a good place to start. Now let's go back to as shot and then try this white logo on my hat. That works a little bit better. Let's just use the gray. It really depends on what your lighting situation is. If you have like a white card, actually look at this white pot right there. That's probably the best option here. This is sort of a cream colored pot, and that gives me the best overall white balance to start out with. Now, I might want it to be a little warm because when I was taking this photo, these lights are warm, so you want that to look a little bit natural, but that's a quick way to get an auto white balance. This next eyedropper is the color sampler tool. By clicking this and clicking anywhere on my image, I get an RGB sample color. And this is just good to know if you are looking for a specific color and you want to use it for some sort of graphic later on, you have these RGB levels later on. This gets a little advanced with graphic design, so if you're not understanding what this is, that's okay. But basically, you can use these RGB values right here to select a color, to add a text that is a specific color, or a box, sort of like a shape that's a specific color. And that's what you would use that tool for. Lastly, we have this targeted adjustment tool. So if you click and hold, you see that you have multiple options: parametric curve, hue, saturation, and luminance. Starting with the parametric curve, I don't know if you remember where this was, but it was under our tone curve and on the parametric tab. If I click and drag up or down any part of the image, it will select that part of the tone curve and move it up and down. So if I want to bring up the shadows, I would click in the shadows and drag up. And see how the curve on the right-hand side gets brought up? Maybe I want to make it a little contrastier, so I'll drag that down. But at the same time, I want to bring up the mids, so I'll pick somewhere that is somewhat in the mids, like my jacket, and bring that up. Or the highlights, I can click the whites and bring those up, or down if I want. So this is a way to sort of pinpoint a part of your image so that you can make those more precise adjustments. Similarly, we have hue, saturation, and luminance, which is similar to HSL. Here, we can go in and pick in our image, say this like green, and increase or decrease this green to adjust this specific color in my frame. You'll notice that on the right, it's also picking some yellows to increase or decrease the hue because there's more than just green in here. Same with if I pick this sort of wood fence on the right, it will adjust the oranges and the yellows. And then you can do it with not just hue, but also saturation and luminance. Maybe we want to desaturate this orange. We can click and drag down. Of course, that makes my skin look a little weird, so we might want to click in my skin, bring back a little bit, which gives us a little bit more of that fence color. But it's just a way for you to pinpoint colors in your image itself to make adjustments to, rather than relying on the sliders themselves over here. And you can do the same with luminance, and then grayscale is the same. You can use the grayscale mix option and increase or decrease specific colors in your image. It's a really cool way to get specific to come up with a nice looking image. Cool. Thank you so much for watching this lesson on some more pinpoint adjustments. We'll see you in the next one.